What up, Sauce Gang, and welcome back to the channel. Hot Sauce Beats here with a very special reaction for you. It is Christmas. Merry Christmas, guys. I hope you're having an amazing day with family and friends and loved ones, and just spend the day vibing out in a good mood, being thankful for everything we have. And we got a special video today because Mumbo Jumbo just dropped a video reacting to all my Hermitcraft bases. That is right, fam. You guys know I was late to the Hermitcraft party, so I haven't seen any of Mumbo's old bases. So I'm super stoked to essentially get a tour from Mumbo on his old bases. Like, this is perfect. It is a great Christmas present, so I hope you enjoy the reaction. But before we jump into the video, fam, please help support the channel by smashing that subscribe and like button. It's absolutely free and it greatly helps out the channel. Have a Merry Christmas. Enough talking, let's get to reacting and roll that bomb ass intro.
Hot Sauce Beats is finally here. Hot Sauce Beats is finally here. Eat, sleep, make beats. Eat, sleep, make beats.
Hot Sauce Beats. Woo-hoo! Let's go, Sauce Gang. I'm ready.
This video is sponsored by Republic of Games.
Oh, this is gonna be so good.
Hermitcraft Season 8 coming to a fiery and explosive end. I apologise to anyone who hasn't seen the episode yet. That is a little bit of a spoiler. I thought it'd be cool to take a quick trip down memory lane and take a look at previous Hermitcraft bases that I've constructed in my many years of being a member of this community. And to start off with, we are going all the way back to June the 9th, 2013 with the start of Hermitcraft Season 2. This is going to be...
Chat, Mumbo's been on Hermitcraft that whole since Season 2? 2013?
Interesting. And the first thing that has completely blown me away as I've logged in here is... this place is so much smaller than I was expecting it to be. I guess I haven't really noticed how much the scale of Hermitcraft bases has...
It's crazy to see something, and which I'm guessing this is still going to be absolutely amazing, but you can tell just like looks-wise how much more detail is in the newer
escalated
season.
Over the years. But this is really quite small. This was built before the days in which I had industrial districts. So I've got little farms like my chicken farm. I've got a tree farm right here, which I remember I was so proud of this design. I'm still proud of this design, to be honest with you. I think I still use this design. Got little melon and pumpkin farms. Obviously the mob farm up above the base as well. I gotta say, I think for its time, this probably wasn't a terrible Minecraft build. Remember, we're back in 2013 here. But for me, I think the most obvious differences between builds that I'm working on now and builds that I was doing back then is textures and just how flat some of these structures are. And also,
I know what he means by that, because a lot of you guys have told me when I'm doing these builds, like try and add textures to it, make things like give some like rounded edges or, you know, different levels so everything isn't just so boxy and flat.
Also, the randomness of it all seems... it's like a bunch of different ideas kind of plonked in one space of land, and it does work. It's quite fun. It's quite playful. I actually quite like the fact that it's not 100% cohesive, but...
it kind of has like an amusement park.
I definitely think that's one of the strengths of some of my more recent builds. Alright, let's run down into the storage system. So this thing right here, this is where we had all of the drops from the mob farm. I wonder, is there still drops in here? Yes, there is. This thing is still working, and it clearly broke a long time ago. I've got some old donator hallways. I've got my storage system. This is pretty nice. I still think this is one of the coolest looking sugarcane farm designs. And having
really
piston
cool
doors like this dotted around. This is a nice touch.
See, that's what I want, chat. This is why we learn from the one and only Mumbo, and we're gonna be doing a video making some of his creations here very shortly.
I definitely like that. I think what's really standing out to me with this build is that it's quite clear that I haven't really built to this scale before, and I have some nice ideas. I understand what I'm meant to be doing. I'm just not quite there yet. You know, I was clearly experimenting with different styles, and I was trying my best, and there are some good ideas. Like, there's some nice ideas of how to do things, but just some of it it's not quite hitting the mark. Like these archways, for example. It's a really nice idea. Like, it's a cool idea to connect up these struts with these things. But it's just... It's not quite there. Now, one thing about my Season 2 base is I actually created a secondary area that was dedicated purely to building, so I'm curious to see that. Now, we can ignore the watchtower because that was actually based off of someone else's design, but these designs right here, these were mine. And, yeah, there is... okay, so I was starting to learn things. I was starting to pick things up. These aren't actually that bad. These are actually pretty nice. But I'm going to be totally honest, I was looking around thinking, why is there redstone lamps everywhere? Turns out this is actually a redstone lighting system. The lights come on at night in an old medieval fishing village. There's automatic redstone lamp light.
That is brilliant! To turn lights on and off at night. What? And you could even put a what is it, an observer, you know, like a light sensor, and oh my god, that's awesome. See, there's just so much you can do. There's so much you can do.
I don't know if that quite fits the theme. As I say, I was having cool ideas. I was having really cool ideas. I just don't think I was quite putting them together just yet. I still had a long way to go as a builder. But I do have massively fond memories of this place. Of course, this was the start of my Hermitcraft journey, so it has a very special place in my heart. And you know what? It's better than I was expecting. I forgot about this room. I forgot all about this. Okay, this isn't bad. This ceiling design is actually really nice. I'm going to steal this.
It looks good.
I'm going to steal this for a future build. Before I leave, though, I have to mention this guy. I know it looks a little bit strange now to have a little statue of yourself in your base, but this is what you did. This is what you did back in the day. Every base had to have one. And Grian thinks he was the first person to steal my mustache. Oh, no. No, it was Keralis, and he replaced it with a big red nose. Not sure why he did that, but it's pretty cool. Let's move on.
I was about to say, I'm like, what? Where's the mustache?
Hermitcraft Season 3. But before we go through this place in detail, I wanted to show you an awesome project that I recently worked on for Asus Republic of Gamers and their new Zephyrus laptop. Ooh. I've always wondered how it would feel to play a racing game whilst in a racing car. And thanks to Republic of Gamers and the new ROG Zephyrus, I think I'm about to find out.
About to happen here. Or wait. Okay, hold on. I was a little confused there. Okay, so someone is driving the car while he's playing the game on the computer. For a second, I thought he was driving the car with his controller. I'm like, what? Okay, so he's playing the game while... Pretty cool though.
So these ROG Zephyrus laptops are powerful, lightweight, and they're a perfect fit for gamers on the move. And I am definitely on the move here.
This has to be a blast.
In terms of specs, this thing has an 11th generation Intel i7 CPU, which means it's blisteringly quick, and also has an NVIDIA RTX graphics card, which means you can experience high fidelity graphics and even ray tracing. All things that I wasn't really paying much attention to here.
That's gonna have to be it.
That would be such a blast. I'm guessing this is... Mumbo puts a lot of content like this on his second video. I know he's like a filmmaker too.
Finally, I think I found the perfect spot to enjoy the Dolby Atmos sound system. This is bliss. I'm in a Minecraft house that's on a hill, and I'm playing on a hill. The Republic of Gamers Zephyrus, a laptop where you truly can play any game, anywhere, anytime. Well, I think it's safe to say that that was epic, and a big thank you to everyone who helped me film it. All of their links can be found down in the description. Incredibly talented people. But now it's time for Hermitcraft Season 3. And once again, you can see there are some similarities here. I still have the same mob farm up in the sky, and I still have that circular theme. It is slightly bigger, but it's still not particularly big. When I built this base, I thought it was enormous. I thought of this thing as being a gigantic monument. Now when you compare it to the modern Hermitcraft bases, this looks tiny. However, there is one thing that I think is important to mention, and that is the fact that we no longer have floating things above the base. Everything is now connected. Right. It all looks like one structure. And I gotta say, I do kind of like the mechanical lookingness of this storage system centerpiece here. I do really like the ice spikes surrounding the build, but one thing that I would do if I was constructing this now is I would actually have ice going up all of the redstone elements and kind of engulfing the build itself, really to merge the two, because right now it's kind of like this structure is plonked on top of this area here. They're not really connected. I'm going to be brutally honest with myself here. I really hate this room. I think it's horrible. I built it as a viewing room, but it's just a really strange addition to the area. I do, however, quite like the idea of having this little subterranean zone where we've got some farms and things, and then we have a walkway going all the way around which goes off into 4 various quadrants. With that being said though, I'm not sure I'm the biggest fan of the block palette that I went for. I mean, it's okay, it works.
I'm still sick,
I really feel like I overused the iron blocks. I know I was very excited by the new and highly efficient iron farms that we had available to us, but that doesn't mean that I had to use them everywhere. With that being said though, on the topic of farms, I do really like this. I love the design of this. I love this kind of floating walkway, being able to see through into all the farms. This is really cool. And I do quite like the look of this storage system, I must admit, once again.
All the cats.
In my head, this place was enormous. It was like a gigantic hall. I think this really does help to drive home the difference in scale between the Hermitcraft seasons. One thing that I do kind of like about these old Hermitcraft bases is that because there was no industrial districts or separate zones for things, the base ends up being incredibly functional. You know, you've got everything that you need to survive actually inside your base, which gives you lots of motive to build all sorts of different zones and different areas of it. That's something that might be missing a little bit in some of my more recent builds, and maybe that's something that I'll take forward into future builds in Hermitcraft Season 9. My goodness. And I used to wonder why I got a reputation for causing lag on the server. Why? All in all, I would say there's some really nice ideas in this build. It's a really cool looking base.
I like it.
But I think I actually prefer my Hermitcraft Season 2 base just because I think I prefer the block palette. I'm not such a big fan of the iron.
I will give him, I do think Season 2 so far is better, the build. I actually, especially for it being his first Hermitcraft, I think he did amazing.
I don't really like the snow so much, particularly. And yeah, I know a certain somebody that would definitely take issue with that. With that being said though, I always remember that when you used to come around the corner in this minecart, because I never used to have a nether portal, and travel along, the opening view to this thing is rather gorgeous. I mean, it definitely scores points for that. And on that positive note, Hermitcraft Season 4. And this was the season of the drone, the gigantic flying base over the top of this power beam here. The circles do seem to be getting bigger, but this is very similar to Hermitcraft Season 2 and Hermitcraft Season 3. Same mob farm, storage system in the center, and then also we've got a gigantic storage system out the back. I must admit, this is my first time looking at the Season 2, Season 3, and Season 4 base back to back, and it's very clear how similar they actually are.
Right.
It's very clear that I was well within my comfort zone. You know, I wasn't really trying out new things here. Sure, it's a new block palette and it is flying, but fundamentally, this base is pretty much exactly the same, isn't it? At this time, I really was not a confident builder in the slightest. So I guess I had found a formula that worked and a formula that I thought created cool bases, and I was clearly sticking with it. And I must admit, when you look at it,
immediately when he starts a new season, he's like, all right, I gotta make a mob farm. Where am I gonna put it?
From down below, it's a pretty cool structure. Like it's a fairly cool looking build. I'm not so sure of the block palette, and I'm not also a massive fan of the power beam either. I feel like that could definitely have some other blocks in there. Even, for example, False's jellyfish over there. If the power beam was more like that, that would have been super cool. But to be honest, looking back, this kind of just looks like an upside down icicle. Unless you say it's a power beam, no one would really know that it's a power beam, would they? It sounds like I'm being super negative here, and I am being a little bit negative. But there are definitely some fantastic ideas in this base. The first one being the industrial district. This was my first time having a dedicated area for my farms, and there are some fantastic and very efficient farms in this build. I mean, check out this layered storage system. This is genuinely really cool. One thing that was potentially a little bit silly about this industrial district is that the industrial district was essentially part of my base, which means that all of these industrial farms did create quite a lot of lag in the area. When I logged on, it did tend to cause some issues for other members of the server. I definitely deserved my reputation of the lag creator back then, but one thing that certainly is clear is as this season went on, I began to experiment with new types of building. For example, here you can see my first try ever at terraforming something. Look, we've got leaves, we've got nice grass, I've removed all of the flowers, we've got little stones in there. This was all taught to me by Iskal in one big terraforming lesson, and this was the start of me learning how to build in that sort of slightly more organic style. Now, I took the lessons that I learned from that and put them into this construction right here. Now, you can see I was still a little bit within my comfort zone. I was still building using circles. You know, I hadn't completely let loose just yet, but this is definitely a more refined an interesting build, and this is much more in line with the sort of things that I do nowadays. It's more detailed. You can see,
and that's so this is something that I learned too, that a lot of the viewers on my Twitch have let me know, is like giving walls, and especially with stone, like character, like this texture by using, you know, brick, cobblestone, just switching it up. And he even has slabs in here as well. Like, this looks really good. I like this. And then, like, my favorite is mossy block. So then you add in some mossy block in there. Mwah! Chef's kiss, mossy block.
You can see there's like a little light starting to switch on here in the building world. And some of these rooms genuinely are incredibly pretty. I remember being really, really happy with this stuff, and rightly so. Some of these structures are gorgeous, and the idea of having this auto crafter here, this is quirky and very cool. And just when you thought I was finally getting the hang of this building thing, I decided to put this here, just in the back of my base. Just a toilet, a spoon.
And a tooth?
I mean, it's an odd choice. It is there's a drone back there, a gigantic piston, my tooth getting a root canal.
Oh my goodness.
It's an odd creative decision. Just when I thought I was getting the hang of things with the terraforming and the cool looking bases, this is where my brain goes to next. You know, I still had a lot to learn, but we have to remember that this base did also include a bat cave, which increases its coolness by at least 35%. I wonder if this display still works. So currently it's displaying a spoon. Okay. And is that a bat symbol? That is a bat symbol. That's pretty fancy. And on that positive, let's move on to Hermitcraft Season 5. And can I just say, to start things off, this nether portal room right here, which is on the nether side, is so cool. It's meant as a mini replica of my base, so that is my base right there. And then we've got the Guardian Farm in the middle. This is epic, and I really like the block palette. And that block palette is something that carries through the entire base itself. And I must admit, it has been ages since I've been over here. And yeah, I had forgotten how big this was. This I would say was my first Hermitcraft mega base. It's still quite a geometric design, and it's still centered around a farm. But it is significantly different from the previous ones, so I was stepping out a little bit, and I have to say, I do think it looks pretty epic. Especially at nighttime with the entire ocean being lit up with these sea lanterns. That's pretty amazing. And I especially love the way that this farming module came together. Just all of these diagonal farms fit so perfectly within the shape. I have to say, this is cool. This is really...
At night, just the glow, the aura that this gives out, like, it is amazing. This is super impressive. And I am a symmetrical person, so I love how symmetrical this base is. And I mean, it is truly beautiful.
Really cool. But there is one thing that I'm excited to check out, which is my storage system. Because this was my first experiment with the very organic style of building. That sort of noisy, detailed, destructed style of building.
Oh, I love this storage system.
Actually even better than I remember. This is gorgeous.
What?
This is really pretty. I would be happy if I built this now. And it's such a cool idea for a storage system. So essentially you're going through all of the various different zones of storage. So this here is all of my colored blocks. Then we've got all of the nether blocks. Then we've got all of the wood blocks. We've got the redstone section. I mean, how cool is that?
I like this.
Seriously, how cool is that? We have all of the different stone types and everything. And then we've got all of the farming supplies. The only negative that I would say with this storage system is the actual automatic part of it never worked. It never actually worked, and it never sorted my items. It was always breaking. I was always losing stuff. It was a nightmare, but it looked incredibly pretty. But there's more. You see, towards the end of the season, when I was getting bored of working on my base, I started working on this little town over here, which served absolutely no purpose. It was just a building project, which was definitely weird for me at the time. And although it is flawed, you know, I can see plenty of things wrong with these structures and things that I would do differently today. It's quite a nice little place. Yeah. This redstone mine...
He was doing this on his own, like on the side, when he was doing a mega base.
Right
That's
here,
impressive.
This redstone mine is good. I like this. I actually really like this. And if I had made it a functional mine down at the bottom, that would have been like a perfect entrance to a mine shaft. I seem to remember, yeah, down here, look, these are meant to be like waterlogged decking. And then we also have storage down here as well with... Ooh. Oh, this was before barrels. So these were meant to be barrels. So there's not even storage. Look at me building storage that isn't even storage. That was revolutionary for me back in the day. As I say, you know, there's plenty of things looking at this that I would do differently if I was building it today. But you can definitely see that I had a good idea of what I wanted to do. And there's definitely, you know, there's there's something here. The lights are fully switching on in the building department of my brain. I'd even started building up some custom trees as well. And, you know, they're not half bad. I'd like a little bit more droopiness, but they're pretty good. Very, very cool. This is by far my favorite base that I have featured so far. So now let's move on to Hermitcraft Season 6. And I am very, very excited for this one. My first time seeing it in around about 2 years.
Wow.
Man, it's smaller than I remember again. I remember it being considerably bigger than this.
That is huge.
But it is still, it's really cool. It's a really cool looking structure.
Oh yes,
I was back to circles again. Okay, but this is a sphere. It's actually not quite a sphere.
Yeah, tell me these are different biomes up here. 4 different ones.
It's more of an egg shape, as you can see. It's like a squashed sphere. But the look of it is incredibly cool. Like the way that the city kind of merges in around it. And importantly, the terraforming of the island that was performed by Scar. I mean, that is such a cool detail. It's such a strange and unique form of terraforming, and he absolutely nailed it. The concept of power being returned for Hermitcraft Season 6, that is what is holding up. I think this guy was called Mumbo Baloney. I wouldn't call him Mumbo Baloney, but I could be completely wrong. Of course, constructed by Mr. Escal. And then we have these 4 biomes surrounding all the various areas of my storage system. So we've got like Tropical Island. As you can see, the custom trees are back in full force. This time with a little bit more droopiness. I'd love to see it. We've got this little enchanted forest. Once again, more custom trees. And these are nice little custom trees. I'm a fan of these. I'm a big fan of these.
Yes.
I haven't built custom trees like this since, and I really like it. They remind me of bonsai trees. We've got the desert, but it's like an improved desert. I'm not sure I like the torches, though. I probably should have hidden the torches. Same goes for this area as well, actually. If they were hidden, this place would be like 30% better. And then finally, we have this little ice spikes biome here. Once again, it has been improved. It has been upgraded. It's not a direct copy, and that's cool to see. Some of these buildings are absolutely wicked as well. They're incredibly futuristic and modern in their design.
Yes.
But it looks great. I mean, I absolutely love this one that's holding our sugarcane farm. This here is definitely a personal favorite of mine. I just think it's so cool. There's a lot of really good stuff going on here. Obviously, it is.
You can tell for this season. So he said this was season 6. He definitely took a massive, massive step out of his comfort zone and tried something new and made like a Picasso, a masterpiece.
It's all hyper modern, hyper futuristic, incredibly clean lines.
Up right now.
But it works really, really well for this base. This destroyed island over here, the island that is like derelict, I'm a big fan. Yeah. I like this a lot. But honestly, and I'm not entirely sure why, I think my personal favorite structure out of this entire selection is actually this one over here that's housing our villagers.
Sick.
It's got nice proportions. It's like nicely proportioned. It sits well. If I was building it today, I would probably make sure that it has some substantial structure underneath it, underneath the water, because it kind of looks like it's plonked on top. But outside of that, it's really cool. Now, one big difference between this base and my other previous bases is this is my first one that didn't rely on having things underneath the ground. Every part of this base was above ground. It was all on display, which meant that I had to build a building for everything. And that was a big shift for me, and I think it worked out nicely. Hello, old friend. It's been a while. All in all, in Hermitcraft Season 6, I would say I did a very, very good job at creating an awesome looking base that is interesting. It has a coherent design language. All of the buildings kind of match up.
100%.
They look like they all come from the same universe. It has a bunch.
Also, like, while I'm watching all these, they are really motivating me in regards to builds that I'm doing on the DTP SMP, which I streamed for 6 hours yesterday, and we built a custom mountain from nothing, and I've never done that before, and that was an absolute blast. Very tedious. Like, you know, you thought you were done, and then you step back and look at the mountain, you're like, oh, I need to, you know, shave that down a little bit, or, you know, extend that side out a little more. But it is so much fun getting outside of your comfort zone and trying
of really nicely executed features, and it all works together. I really do like this base a lot. So now, Hermitcraft Season 7. I mean, come on, it is very cool, isn't it? This base is very cool.
This is insane.
There's definitely something about this base that is cool. The shape of it is just, it's a really nice looking tower. And the golden hearts. The fact that it's alive, you can actually hear the heartbeats.
Oh, wow.
I mean, these are nice details for sure. In fact, actually, the heartbeat's gone a bit weird because it's on its way out. I also can't help but thank Scar for actually adding in the chains that connect up the futuristic elements of the base into the ancient elements of the base. That really tied everything.
I like how, like, now each new base is probably my... Actually, I don't know. The dome is still... This is sick.
Together, really just sick. As a bit of a story behind this place, this was meant to be a future civilization that was preserving an ancient monument. And before Scar did the chains, that wasn't really coming across. But now that they're in there, it sells the story a lot more. Now, what's interesting is this was my first ever Hermitcraft base that I built knowing that I was also going to have an industrial district. So there's no farms, there's nothing in this base. Unlike in Hermitcraft Season 6, where the industrial district came halfway through the season, this time we actually started with an industrial district. So there's no farms or anything like that, which means that you don't actually have quite as many rooms and places to look through. It all basically serves just the storage system. And the storage system is down at the bottom here.
Wow.
And once again, yeah, compared to Hermitcraft Season 8, this place is actually it's quite small. Like, it's actually quite tight down here. It's quite, I'm not going to say cramped, but no, it's definitely smaller than I remember. Once again, I think I was picturing some gigantic hall and everything like that, when in reality, there's only, what, 6 blocks between some of the walls and, like, the central bit. But even though it's smaller than I expected, the actual design of the room is really pretty. You can clearly see how far I've come as a builder in this room here compared to some of the older storage systems. This just feels like a much more...
And this, I mean, even coming from someone who literally gets paid to play Minecraft, like, you see Mumbo evolve over these seasons. So even someone who's been doing it forever, they're still getting better and better every year because it's practice. Trying new things, new color palettes, new building styles. Like, this is awesome.
More finished end result. I really like this.
Crazy.
I really like this. This is a build that, honestly, just kind of sitting back and looking at it on the horizon like this, it just has such presence. It's so ominous and just, it's really cool. I'm proud of myself for this one. I'm really proud of this build here. I'm trying to find things that I can constructively criticize, and I really can't. I mean, this room is gorgeous as well. I love these ceilings. With the basalt, I love the way that looks. Maybe if I had done a tiny bit more with the water, maybe the area on the outskirts of my base, that would have been good, but that is a small detail, and it's not really where you're looking. You're always going to be looking inwards. Yeah. Very cool, and very interesting. It's been very eye-opening for me looking through all of my bases back to back. I've never done that before, so seeing that linear progression from season to season has been... Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's like watching old home videos and seeing how you've grown up. I feel like I've grown up, you know?
You have, Mumbo.
Even this base is like a leap from Hermitcraft Season 7 in the way that it's been built and constructed and the way that it's been put together. Ah, how cool. Right, I've loved making this video. I hope that you've loved watching it. Thank you to Asus, Republic of Gamers for sponsoring it. And I'll catch you all
good video.
next year.
Let's go. Let me bring you in, Sauce Gang. Merry Christmas, chat. Oh, as soon as Mumbo uploaded this yesterday, I'm like, I am saving this for Christmas. This is such a good video because, as you guys know, I'm just really getting into Minecraft this year. I didn't know about any of this. I didn't know about Hermitcraft, Dream SMP, none of it before this year. And, like, it has taken over. It's inspired me playing Minecraft. And a video like this is so inspirational because you see the growth in Mumbo Jumbo through each season, trying new things. It makes me want to step out of my comfort zone and try building new things. And this is awesome. This season's build, you can see again how he stepped out of his comfort zone, trying that massive mountain, all the little house details on there, and then the big kind of shrine up on top, if you want to call it that. I do think season 6 might be my favorite, just the big dome. I think that is so cool. 7 was absolutely sick though as well. It looked like an ancient monument. I like that. But I had an absolute blast reacting to this. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, chat, please smash that subscribe and like button. It's absolutely free and it helps out the channel. Have a Merry Christmas. Again, I hope you're having an amazing day, spending it with family, friends, and loved ones, or at least just having good vibes and having a good time. Enjoy your weekend, and remember, it's eat, sleep, and make beats, and as usual, be kind to one another, and that's all I got. Boom! I'm out! Got him beloved, the Sauce Gang. Peace out, fam. Merry Christmas. I love ya. Boo!